It's the Lou, Desmond and Company Show.
Normally, right? No, absolutely. You all have to be able to count on each other.
Yeah.
And if anyone doesn't want a bad apple in the barrel, it's the people that have to count on the bad apple. Proposition 47 in California. This was passed a number of years ago. It reduced many crimes that were felonies to misdemeanors and did things like, well, shoplifting isn't really an arrestable crime unless it's over $950. Same thing with burglary and other crimes. What impact has that had on law enforcement?
Where do I begin? But I will say, when I first started several years ago, when Fred Flintstone was still around, we had a law that was called petty theft with priors. So that means if you conduct yourself and you have 3 theft-related charges, you can actually get a felony and go to prison. That was done away. So now this idea of Prop 47 has not only hindered all my members from my organization, but all law enforcement in general. And the reason why is I hear stories every day from law enforcement that they'll arrest someone at 9 a.m. and within 2 to 3 hours, they're already back out on the streets.
My police officers in my classes, they're reluctant to arrest people of minor crimes or even some major crimes because they're still doing the paperwork and that person's already out of jail.
Yeah, and it's more disingenuous than anything because it sucks for law enforcement, but the people that are hurting the most are the citizens. And the reason I say this is because they're the ones that are afraid to go into retail stores. They're the ones afraid to use their money to make the economy better because they're afraid of being accosted. They're afraid of watching someone get robbed in front of them. I mean, I just watched on the news last week, a local store in Colton has been robbed 4 times and they've been open for business for less than a year. But these criminals, they understand there's no punishment. And as long as we keep having these soft on crime laws, it's going to continue to happen.
Okay, so Proposition 47, I think everybody who has any kind of brain cells can agree has been a disaster.
Absolutely.
Now, there have been 900,000 signatures gathered, and an initiative is qualified in California to repeal Proposition 47.
Yes.
What will be your union's position?
100% we stand behind a repeal. And
okay, good to know.
It's the smart thing to do. And that's just not from a police standpoint. It's to keep our city and other cities safe. 100% we stand behind it.
I'm absolutely with you. Proposition 47 has been an absolute disaster. The thing that's sad about it is I think people are misguided who support this sort of thing because, frankly, if the first time somebody tries to shoplift something, they're tackled by the shrinkage team at Target, they are arrested, they're handcuffed, they're fingerprinted, they spend 24 hours in jail, they go before a judge who admonishes them, and then they're facing 6 months in jail. That, I think, is going to be a great deterrent to stop somebody from going further down the road. But if you basically say there's no consequences, then until they get to a violent crime where somebody's injured or killed, they don't face any real consequences. What stops them, Sergeant Plummer?
Nothing
what stops them before they get there?
Nothing stops them unless we have actual consequences. And it's like the saying we always hear, when no consequences, there's going to be no change in behavior. And so at the end of the day, we have to have tougher laws, and we need to stop thinking about party lines. This is not a party line situation. This is right and wrong. And we need to protect our citizens. And that's what it's all about. The only way it's going to stop is if there's consequences for their actions.
Absolutely agree. We need to repeal Proposition 47. A lot of communities in blue states around the country and in major blue cities are dealing with the problem of soft on crime district attorneys. That is not the case in San Bernardino County, though.
No, it's not. We have a strong fighting district attorney, Jason Anderson. Our police association supports him 100%. And he sends a strong message that if you commit crimes, you're going to be held accountable. Now, there's certain things that are obviously out of his control, and that's because some of these representatives that go out to Sacramento that say they're on our behalf, they have these soft on crime laws, and it doesn't help us.
Like Proposition 47 brought in.
Exactly. And this is my stance. If individuals that are representing us are going to Sacramento and they're doing nothing to help us with the homelessness, with the Prop 47, with the thefts, with the vandalism, with all these different things, why should we support their candidacy? It's not a blue or red situation. It's common sense. This is not me just talking as a president. This is not me talking as a police professional. This is me talking about individuals driving up and down the streets. You see this. You go into stores. You see the rampant crime. You turn on the news. You see the crime going on. These flash mobs. These robberies. Enough is enough. So its consequences need to be taken into effect, and we need to actually have strong response. We get that from our DA, but they need help as well.
Right. No, the laws have to be changed back in California so good DAs like Anderson can actually do an even greater job of supporting law enforcement. There was a recent incident in the city of San Bernardino where the city of San Bernardino needed to hire a city manager. They had let go the one that they had.
Yes.
And the interview process was taking place. And then all of a sudden, information started to leak out to the public that was damaging to a particular person who was being favored by a segment of the city council to be hired as city manager. And what we found out from what has now been released by the city through their investigation is that Kimberly Calvin, who has been defeated and will not be on the city council going forward, took it upon herself because she thought she knew better than everybody else to leak information from closed session and from private documents that were submitted to the city about the person that the majority of the council wanted to hire in order to damage that person's opportunity to get the job because she supported a different candidate for the city council position. Kimberly Calvin has been defeated. She will not be a council person. However, Treasurer Ortiz, who is and has been a failed candidate for several positions already that she's run for, she's running for city council against former city attorney Jim Penman. Treasurer Ortiz, it has been put out by the city in a report that she was the most significant player in terms of redistributing this information from closed sessions in social media, in public forums, in radio and newspaper interviews. And that information came directly from censored and now fired city councilman Kimberly Calvin. Would you trust someone to be on the city council that has already been part of a scheme to leak information from closed session to harm a candidate for city manager? And by the way, that person is now suing the city of San Bernardino.
Yeah, I did see that. So to be fair, if everything that they're saying is true, Absolutely not. I would not want that person to be sitting on the dais making decisions for the citizens, the stakeholders within this city. What I will say is it does not help us in our progression for the city to have a safer, better city. These type of scandals, these type of media headlines do nothing for us but further damage the city.
And they scare away business is what they do.
Absolutely, absolutely, 100%. So, but to answer your question, no, I would not want anyone like that sitting on the dais if this stuff is true.
1 minute, 1 minute.
But I will tell you this, it does not make us look good. And every time I see these type of articles, it's defeating to see.
The city of San Bernardino needs help. It needs business. It needs great employees. It needs great leaders. And I'm glad to have one of them on the show tonight in Sergeant John Plummer, the president of the San Bernardino Police Officers Association. Thank you so much for being on the program. And don't try this in a small town.
Thank you, man.
Hey, so